The window had been busted out, and part of our gear had been stolen.
There's nowhere to play up here at all.
I'm just going to throw this out there that it almost sounded like you were kind of the dark side sometimes of the scene.
At the end of it, our bass player told us, like, he just looked at us and was like, yeah, this is my last show.
We were debating whether to whip this guy's ass or not.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dark Side of the Scene. I'm your host, Brandon, alongside my buddy Ed.
What's up?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. I feel like ranting about something random because, like, I wonder if it's still a thing, but I played a metal band, obviously, probably from the past podcasts. I just want to know if, like, remember that whole stigma about being in a metal band and, like, people think you're evil, and, like, I don't know if that still exists today or whatever. I mean, maybe it secretly does, but, like, I remember this one person, she gave me shit about going to a Slayer show because, you know, they got, like, evil backdrop and Jesus and whatnot. And, like, she gave me crap all about, like, this is wrong, you shouldn't listen to that. And I'm like, I don't like it for the imagery. I mean, that's just, like, to me, a joke. I think they joke about it too, pretty much.
I don't think they take themselves too seriously.
I mean, like, it's funny how that started, though. Like,
it's all the devil's music.
I mean, like, yeah, but, like, I think they just, you know, I don't feel like, well, I've never been in a situation where, like, oh my God, he's playing evil music. You know what? If that was the case, I would actually be making money because I still work at a 9-to-5 job and I play in a band and I don't get shit. So if I was really, like, playing the devil's music, I would think there'd be some perks to it, you know? I mean, I always laugh about those conspiracy theories about, like, the Illuminati and how they control the music industry. And, like, you know, like, I actually happened to come across a thread about the recent, like, halftime show thing. And it was actually a bunch of Christian women, and they were like, this is evil and disgusting. It looks like a pyramid. I'm like, it just made me laugh because it was fucking Rihanna. I'm like, well, if that's evil, then that means, like, all us metal dudes are, like, saints.
I feel like everyone that gets offended by, like, the Super Bowl halftime shows or the thing I sent you earlier with Katy Perry, it's always ends up being like the white middle-aged or older generation. And I know I'm stereotyping, but it typically is what it literally seems to always be, that's upset or mad or whatever, offended by certain things. It's like, oh, they're the devils. No,
I don't hear that shit when it's a country music one. What the hell's the difference? I'm sure they had to sell their souls to play that hee-haw music. I mean, no offense to country people out there that'll be on the show, but you get what I mean. I'm sure the small time country guys are struggling just as bad and wondering how the hell, like, those funny looking guys get money.
Yeah.
Their songs ain't even that good. I mean, I've seen actual real country players and they're pretty amazing, but just saying.
Yeah. Well, I know we got someone in the wings waiting to get on here and talk with us. So before we bring him in, I guess anyone out there listening, if you still think metal music is for the devil, or if your mama says it's the devil, please let us know. And if you'd like to be on an episode of Dark Side of the Scene, send an email to brandon@darksideofthescene.com and we will get you scheduled. We want to hear about your stories from your time playing in bands, playing gigs, whatever it is you do. Definitely like to hear about it. And again, it doesn't all have to be negative. It's kind of the topic of the podcast, but we're not always trying to be negative Nancy's and shit all over the scene. So
it's not all evil either.
Yeah, we're not doing the devil's work here. I mean,
if I was, I'd quit my normal job. So, you know,
yeah,
there's that.
we were doing the devil's work. I think I should be getting paid for this, not paying him out of my own pocket to do this. But it is what it is.
Yes,
So,
very true.
well, with that being said, we're gonna bring him on in. So hang tight. We'll be back in a second. I'd like to take the time to welcome our guest tonight, Wes. Wes, thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Thank you for having me, man. This is a really cool thing you guys are doing for the music community. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to be here too. Sometimes
No, I feel that.
your name is iPhone Wesley Dick. That's
Yeah, it's what I typed in because I wasn't sure like
okay.
if it was supposed to be like a stupid code name or a pen
No,
thing.
you're good. That's funny.
No, but thanks for wanting to talk with us. You're from Oregon, I believe, correct?
Yes, I live in the state capital of Salem.
Nice.
Evil.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, the song "Welcome to Paradise" I would say is definitely a fitting for the city sometimes.
I've been to Oregon once. I was up in flew in at Portland. It was in Hood River area for a couple days.
Hood
And
River's kind of nice. Good scenery over there.
yeah, I saw the big waterfalls and the mountain ranges and stuff. It was pretty cool. It was weird to me because coming from Indiana and then going out there, the air quality was so much different. I don't know if it's because of how clean it just smelled, but like I felt differently breathing, like it felt weird to me. So it's a weird way of describing it, but that's literally how I felt about it. Like I was all just and breathing in like clean air, it felt like.
Right on. Man, that's really good. Yeah, the waterfalls are Multnomah Falls is a really beautiful place to stop through in between Portland and Hood River. Yeah, I grew up in Eastern Oregon and I've been in about Salem for 10 years now.
Mm.
But yeah, going to my grandparents, my mom would always make us stop at Multnomah Falls because we just had to see the scenery. It's a really good waterfall place.
So that game is lying. Nobody dies of dysentery. Is that how you say it? Damn it. Oregon Trail. Nobody got it.
I knew what you meant, but
Uh,
it's been so long.
oh,
Man,
okay.
I've seen the card game version now, and I've never played. Yeah, I've never played the classic computer game.
Hey, I'm old. Sorry. Yeah,
It's all right. I just turned 30 back in December.
okay. I'm like 60 years old, at least according to the other show I did. Anyway. So what do you primarily do? Are you in a band, correct?
Yeah, I do drums and vocals for a local punk and metal influence band, Into Conflict.
Nice.
It's been
Are
about
you
5 years now.
are you the backup vocalist or you're a lead vocalist? Just wondering.
Uh, I do lead vocals and drums.
Oh, that's I had a band that way too, and it's kind of rare to see that, because I always think of that "What I Like About You" song, the dude's playing lead vocals and drumming, so you don't see that often. It's a thing
Uh,
though. Yeah,
it's really fun, especially for punk, because everyone's
yeah,
just so used to the guitarist or the bassist, but then they're like, wait a minute, he actually like goes out of his way to sing. Cool.
yeah, that'd be pretty multitasking.
I've seen a couple bands that have come through this area before that did that. And the first time I'd ever seen, I was like, where's their vocalist? They just set up, and the only person that had a microphone was a drummer. And I was like, are they instrumental? Like, they just was wailing on the drums and screaming and everything. I was like, huh, I've never seen this before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It took a little bit to get comfortable, but I feel more comfortable playing drums and doing vocals and playing guitar or bass for whatever reason. It feels more natural.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And
How are the
yeah,
how are the shows out that way?
Um,
I feel like out west there's I don't know so much about Oregon, but I always felt like out west seems like there was more people to me, so maybe there were better shows. I don't know.
I would say it can be. We usually go up to Portland because they have a better selection between the cozy bars and between actual venues or places that are set up for music. Because here in Salem, there really isn't a lot. We have one basement show venue, which is pretty cool because they run a thrift store upstairs. And yeah, no joke, a blast off vintage. They run a thrift store upstairs and then they run shows down in the basement. Used to be an old kickboxing dojo that I worked out at for a while.
That's kind of brilliant. I could sell my
Yeah,
old clothes. I should do that. Just open a venue, sell my old clothes, book bands.
yeah,
That's
You
great.
you could. I've got the PA.
There you go.
it's
There
pretty
you go.
cool, man. Yeah, I'll have to send you guys some links. But yeah, it's a fun place. We played there about 4 years ago now. Opened up for a couple of metal bands in town before they split.
Nice.
And the Infinity Room is probably the most professional place we have here in Salem. We just played there with Spirits and Renescentia on Saturday. Very well ran because it's a mix of comedy club and open mic, so
Mm.
they do a variety.
I'm up. I feel a little cheated that you don't have like a witches bar in Salem there. I know it's not the same Salem, but come on.
Opposite sides of the country.
I know, right? Or maybe that was
Craftworks,
the
I would
right
say,
one.
would be like the most gothic place in town.
I
And
never
it's so
thought.
funny because they don't have music there, but the times that I have stopped in just to check it out, I'm like, this is a goth and hipster bar in Salem, but yet freaking bikers would be there off and on.
Mm.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, wait, what the, like,
I
what are
don't.
you guys doing here?
I don't see gothic people going camping like in the way they were in their outfits. But don't get me wrong, I wouldn't know that. It's too. It feels like it's too naturey out there to be goth, but I could be wrong.
I have seen like events for goth floats and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, going back to the city selection, like you guys were saying, Portland does have more shows, especially now that the Beast is kind of mellowed out. Venues and bars have opened up again, and I would say it just depends on who your connection is, of course. But yeah, things are starting to come back, which is pretty awesome. At
Heck yeah.
Salem, just we only have like maybe 3 or 4 places, counting the 2 bars and the basement venue. But yeah, Portland is usually where we have to go to make something happen because they just have that variety and selection.
Mm. That's good. How far is that from you? Correct.
45 minutes.
Oh, that ain't bad. Awesome.
No,
Not
not at
bad at
all.
all.
No.
Yeah, Salem's kind of in the middle. It's like we're an hour away from one side of the coast. We're 45 minutes from Portland. There's a few other cities that surround us within the 50-mile radius, so it's not a bad little I guess I would say middle of the nest kind of town.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
not bad at all. I said Portland. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know we came into the airport and got into a rental car and drove off to where we were driving to, but I didn't drive or I didn't rent the car, so I didn't really pay attention. I was just too busy looking at stuff and looking for Sasquatch, I guess.
Isn't like Portland like the capital of like food trucks or something like that? Maybe I got that wrong.
The city has more strip clubs per capita than
What's the address?
other places.
Oh, okay. I'm kidding.
The one thing I do
No.
remember of Portland was I almost bought a sticker that said I got VD while in Portland, and it was for Voodoo Tacos, or not Voodoo Donuts. My bad. Voodoo Taco was
yes.
another place around there.
Yeah, Voodoo Donuts is still a thing there. I believe I was gonna say it's funny I mentioned the club thing because I believe they're right next to the Kit Kat Club. I found that out on accident a few years ago. One of my best friends and I were bar hopping, catching shows, and we were just trying to see what's out there for local bands.
Hmm.
And we were in line one night, and I was like, "Wait a minute! Like, why are all these people lining up to go to the strip club at like 2 in the morning?" I'm like, "Oh, that's the donut shop."
They had some really good donuts.
What is the difference? Like I've seen like pictures and videos of them. Is
They
there's
just
some
put a lot of
stuff on top?
yeah, different things. Like the one I had was like maple syrup and bacon,
Oh
and then
shit.
there was one that had
Oh man, that sounds amazing.
Cocoa Puffs was on top of it, like hot fudge and Cocoa Puffs, and like just stuff that they put on there. Like they're really good. Fucking smuggle those fuckers back on the airplane.
Put it in your
Oh
ass.
man, that,
Maybe
that
it
sounds
wasn't.
tasty.
Maybe it wasn't the Hershey syrup that I thought it was.
That sounds tasty and satisfying at the same
Right.
time.
We recycle here. It's cool.
Nah, they were really good.
Nice.
Right
I like
on.
trying different donuts everywhere.
Shout out to a Voodoo Donut out there. Ship us some free donuts.
Yeah, I want to taste them. So basically this show is basically about negative experiences. So I guess we should get all the happy fun times nature donut thing out of the way. And so what what's your experiences out there? Any kind of crazy things, negatives? Want to hear this. Mhm.
Oh, definitely. Like I said,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, along with the limited selection that Salem has, that's partly why we don't try to play in town very often. And like I said, knowing that the abusers or sexual assaulters will show up to the heavier
Whoa.
bands. So, yeah, and it's scary as hell because we'll be booked with a band or two, but then we see like that specific crowd constantly following that same band, and then that's when I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, do you guys know something, or are you blind about these people that specifically keep going to your shows?
Hmm.
So I try to stay away
You're,
from those two bands if I know damn well that crowd's going to be there.
so like this band attracts them? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
for whatever reason, like this specific like handful of people follow that band, and I'm like, huh. They seem to
I,
be tied to the drummer. Surprise, surprise.
there's no like cancel culture kind of thing there. Like, hey, this person so and so is this, blah blah blah. Because that hurts a lot of bands too. But
Um,
if it's rightfully aimed, then it makes sense.
yeah, I would like to sit down with those bands in person and say, like, hey, do you know about like these people that go to your shows? Do you know about this crowd? Because like what they've done is not cool.
Right.
There's
Well,
Yeah, like
always
yeah,
that's
there's one dude that goes to their shows, and I know damn well who that dude is, and I'm just like, yikes. Like
hmm.
creeping on people is not cool.
it makes it hard when you're in a band because if they're a fan of your band, like if you don't necessarily know them specifically other than from just they come to your shows, and it's really hard to be like, hey, you guys attract this person. Like as a band standpoint, someone told me that I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't have any control over what they do, or you know what I mean. I can't ban someone,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
so it makes it hard.
Oh, definitely. Because we've had that before too, where people have gotten a hold of me personally because I'm pretty much the face for Into Conflict and the social one.
Hmm.
So they'll touch base over Messenger and they'll get a hold of me. They're like, "Hey, like that band you're playing with has this crowd, right?" And I even told them, like, they just happened to be on the bill. I didn't know they were going to do that.
That's good. It didn't affect your band though, because they'd be like, well, if you must support them because they support them. It could be a bit. Now I can see that falling back on your face, but I
Oh yeah,
guess
it gets
you've made it.
messy.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's also why we, like said, aside of Salem, God, there was one bar that we used to play at in Portland. It used to be called the Red Room on 82nd Avenue, and then it turned into a East Side Bar and Grill. So we're young, we're really excited. 2019, we want to make our name out there, so we
Yeah.
get booked there quite often. But then we found out that we're playing with like racists and sexual predators, and
Oh man.
yeah, and then we got lied to by the people that were booking us with those bands, and I'm just like you know very well, like this band has those kinds of people. Like, why are you still associating with them?
Huh.
It's weird for me to think that because when I think out like West, like especially like Oregon, you guys have like so much shit legalized compared to where we live in Indiana, where we're still set in the freaking Stone Age and surrounded by the old ways.
Yep.
It's weird that you'd have racist bands out there because I honestly couldn't even think of anyone in our area that would be considered a racist type band, which is for around here kind of shocks me, but it is.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Unfortunately, some of those bands are out there. Thankfully, they don't get booked around the venues that I've seen and that we played at after they got called out.
Hmm. I feel like most venues shouldn't allow them to play. I mean,
No, I
like
totally agree with that.
you could do your research, but then they're probably like, hey, you need to sell these tickets, but they don't do the research on the band. Know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, or heck, just like one of the metal groups that we opened for this past Saturday here in town, we were joking about that same bar and one of those same bands, and I was like, "Remember when we used to play?" They're like, "Oh my god!" And we got booked with those guys. Like, yep.
mhm.
'Cause we were thinking about taking the lineup with the two bands we played with up to Portland, but then we were joking and ragging on that really crappy place we used to start at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Like it was a very raw experience. I mean, we're like early 20s, mid 20s. Here's three dudes that just want to play music. we're getting $30 for the door cover. But then we see all these people that are like tweaking on the lottery machines, people stealing other people's drugs and running after them out the door.
The hell?
Yeah, I'll never forget. God, there was one night we played at that same bar. My guitar player and I just looked at each other like, "What the hell is going on right now?" Some dude just stole some other dude's crack. He's running out the door, chasing him and yelling at him to get his crack bag back.
Man, they're pretty free with their drugs out there.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say is didn't they legalize everything or decriminalize everything for the most part?
Yeah, that's what the Measure 110 that got passed here recently was supposed to do to help decriminalize and get people into rehab and mental health so
Oh,
they
that's
could
that. Oh, it's that state. I was thinking something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they worked on Measure 110, which was originally supposed to help people get away from the hard drugs and get into better mental health assistance and rehabs, but no, the state hasn't done a lot.
It might be a time-consuming process, and we could only hope for the best for those people, right?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
But sadly, it also kind of makes sense that it's legalized again because it seems like Coke's coming back.
Wow.
I don't know what the dealio is with that, but yeah, and then all the fentanyl stuff. So it's just like anyone who is doing stuff out there, I really hope they do stay safe if they decide to dabble in the devices.
Not worth it.
Maybe
No, not at all.
Maybe this will paint me in a bad picture to some people, and if it offends them, I guess that's whatever. But I've never been one to ever partake in any stuff like that. I've never felt the desire to, and I don't understand how people want to because now I've obviously messed around with certain things like the devil's lettuce here and there, but
I'm calling the cops.
But other than that, like I've just never had any sort of desire to like go after the hardcore shit, and I've been in bands with other musicians where the motherfucker would be shooting up heroin, and
Ooh. Didn't they listen to Alice in Chains?
And like
Yeah.
other ones were like doing others like eating pills all the time. So it's like why do you want to be like completely non-existent as a human at this rate? Like it's like they're not even normal. That they've got to be so strung out on something that they're not even productive.
Oh, no, it's scary as hell because I mean I've also called my bass player and his girlfriend out at times because they've dabbled in crap, and I'm like, dude, like the band needs to be healthy if we're gonna finish this record. So get your shit together and get out.
Yep.
Oh, we're not doing any. I'm like, then why am I seeing you buying stuff from people that come through the alley?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's
it's
a bad
scary
thing to
as
get into.
hell.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather have my friends get themselves together than I wake up and I see a headline and I'm like, great, you chose that, but great, you're gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
That actually, an old drummer we had, he actually, he died about 4 years ago, and it was a overdose on, I don't know exactly. I actually do think it was heroin, but I'm not 100% sure, so I won't quote that. But it does suck.
That's rough.
So,
yeah.
if you
That's
lost your
rough as
bass,
hell.
random, but if you lost your bass player, is there like a healthy amount of bass players out there?
Yeah, there's a few that I'm actually talking to right now because I would say my bass player is still kind of in that limbo where he wants to have fun with the relationship, but then he's still not taking care of himself. So I'm just like, man,
Oh,
it's frustrating as hell because there are
Well-
times where he will show up and he'll play a decent show, but then there's times where it's like, okay, this is becoming too much of a struggle just to keep us afloat to even write the music.
right.
And I can see where the addiction is, and he's obviously ignoring it. So I'm just like,
Oh.
this is why me getting sober was probably not the best idea for everyone. Because now that I'm on everyone's ass, it's like, I told you guys, by the time I
Yeah.
turn 30, gotta have my life together.
Well, that's good. No, I wasn't like,
Yeah.
I wasn't meaning for you to call him out, but I was just saying in general, like, was there a
No,
healthy
sorry about that.
Is there a healthy amount of bass players out there? Because I'm noticing the pattern that there's not enough bass players and drummers in like areas. There's a lack of them in the world, I think.
And it cracks me up because when I look at a lot of the drummers around this area, they're like, oh, dude, I'm doing like 4 or 5 projects, or dude, I'm doing like 4 or 5. And I'm just like, I
Yep.
can barely do 2 because it takes so much out of me. I'm always down to jam with people, but yeah, like doing two full-time bands, like I just don't have that capacity.
Well, once again, listeners, become a bass player or drummer. You'll always have a job. Huh.
Definitely make sure
Yeah.
you learn how to tune and use your 1-4-5 patterns while you're at it.
And no smack. Lay away from the
Yep.
smack.
Keep yourself healthy out there. It's
Yeah.
just not worth the risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
it
I
isn't.
again
Don't
I
do drugs.
drugs are bad and good. Don't do it. That bad.
Okay.
That bad and good.
Yeah.
No, I apologize for the little tangent, but
No, it's cool.
God, the band honestly feels more like a brotherhood because it's like I'm the oldest one with two little brothers, and then some days I'm a freaking dad of two, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you guys?
Oh boy, I know that.
I was
feeling.
always band dad. I totally get
Yep.
it.
I'm half a band dad.
Dale, what the hell are you doing? Get ready.
No, I'm a half a band dad. So like I'm usually like I'm kind of the dad that disappears because I don't want the job either. So, you know,
You
That's
go
how
out
I
to get the
treat it.
milk and don't come home.
yeah, like later. Figure it out.
Well, you're on your own. There's a TV. Sega's in the living room.
There's T. Make sure you play in tune or time. Excuse me.
Right. Sega Genesis is in the living room. Just don't open the door.
Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis was badass back in the day.
Oh
Like,
hell yeah, dude! I still got Mortal Kombat
I
too.
was team Nintendo. Sorry. I mean
I had it all. I was a spoiled kid, I guess.
shit.
Oh, it's awesome because my brother has a Super Nintendo and I've got the Sega Genesis, so it all works out.
That's true.
No, it's
I
fun because
I still
we
have
both
my
got
Super.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have mine.
I said I've still got the Super Nintendo. I still got my GameCube. We've got the Switch.
Oh, that's legendary.
I've got a 64 somewhere. I actually don't know where it is. I think it's at my parents' house. But
And
I've
if you
got my
have Doom
original
or Turok on
Xbox.
that thing, have props.
What was that?
If you have Turok on that thing, then mad props.
On the 64? Yeah, I have that.
I watched the playthrough for that because I didn't want to go like find that game and try to beat it because it was like fucking long. But yeah,
There's a cheat code that you get and takes you to any level you want. And you go right into the game and fight
that's
the
true.
T-Rex. Yeah, I did that shit. I'd always go and I'd have like the cheat code in there to have all the badass weapons, and I'd go fuck that T-Rex up.
Oh, I'm talking about two. I meant two Turok 2. That's a long ass.
Oh yeah,
game.
Seeds of Evil. Man, my neighbors used to have that one.
Terrified me.
Gosh, those were the good days though. Go over to my
Yeah.
best friend's house, play GoldenEye for quite a few rounds, or we played WWF Warzone.
Yeah.
All right, grab his controller. He's winning. Switch over to Mario Kart.
The first game that really scared the shit out of me, we were playing the first Resident Evil. I'd bought it when it came out on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh, director's cut.
Yep, the director's cut version. And when those fucking dogs jump through the window, like right towards the beginning of the game, you're walking through that hallway and they just burst through the window for the first time. Like literally me and my little brother, and I think my friend was in there too. We all fucking screamed.
Oh, man.
Totally scarred me for life. Every time I play a game now, which I actually just downloaded the Resident Evil 4 demo earlier today. I haven't really messed with it, but I plan on picking that up. I've always been a huge Resident Evil fan ever since they terrified me. It's always
man,
been
it's a
one of my
great
favorite.
series.
Well, it's weird that they.
Silent Hill's a trip too.
Yeah, I do like Silent Hill too.
Yeah, that was creepy. No, like it kind of baffles me that because I have Resident Evil in the VR and then they redid it like now again, and I'm like, it's not well. It's worth playing on VR because you're actually in it, you know, and aiming at their
I
face.
can't do VR.
Oh, you got the dizziness going.
Well, that and the way my eye is or whatever. If I look straight on it, shit, I'd fucking see double vision.
Oh,
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's rough.
maybe they got a setting for you.
Maybe.
I've always wondered what that felt like. Is there's one of my friends that they'll do the VR with their kids once in a while, and they say it's a trippy experience,
Everyone
especially
else,
if you're not used to it.
I've known some people like my nieces or nephews. They all have Oculus or whatever, and they're like, "You want to try?" I was like, "No." I used to try the. You remember the Nintendo's? Is completely not band related, but you remember the Nintendo VR that came out in the mid '90s?
Was it red?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dude,
I wanted
Mortal
one of those
Kombat had a
things.
selective release for that. I vividly remember that commercial.
I played one before, and it like, I don't know, I didn't like it. Like I thought I was gonna love it, but I put my face in there and I was trying to everything like made me I don't know. It just I couldn't deal with it. So I think the other ones will be the same way if I put that shit on there because we've got headsets where we put the phones in there and try and play phone games. Like we had one for my stepson or whatever. And I tried to play this car driving game that he had and it was making me sick. I was like, I
Oof.
can't do this shit.
Some games
That's
do.
rough.
I think honestly, it's worth trying. And if you don't
Or
like
you
it,
get
you
a,
don't like it.
oh
But
my
yeah.
gosh, or when Sonic would send you into the 3D mazes to get the blue spheres. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, my brother and I used to get a little dizzy watching those.
Yeah.
No, there's only one game, actually two games that make you dizzy, and it's like one where you're flying, and it's like tricking your brain. So like you're floating in the air and then trying to hit a ball. That shit messes with my equilibrium so bad. I like to lay down. But it's only two games that made me sick. The rest of them are cool because once you have control, you know where you're looking. I don't know. That's worth.
I'm a lazy gamer. I just want to sit there and
Oh,
not have to move. I don't want to even with the Switch, everyone or not the Switch, but the what was it, the Wii?
yeah.
Yeah, the Wii, everyone had to move their arms and fling it around. I was like, I'm
I mean, you
fucking
still can sit. You can still sit and play. You don't have to like move around. I'm more of the immersive guy, and I like punching my wall accidentally, but or my wife when she walks by me.
the PlayStation 5 controllers kind of fuck with me because they have it's harder to press buttons because they make it try and like the reactive controller or whatever. So I don't know
I
if
feel like those are easier to grip for my hands though, compared to like PS4
I
or
haven't noticed.
PS3.
I haven't noticed when I now that I have one.
you
No, I
might
haven't
not be
noticed.
playing a game that has it activated. I was the demo
Oh,
for this Resident Evil 4, like I was trying to
Oh,
stab the
okay.
thing and I was pressing the trigger and it was like really hard to press the trigger button, like because you're trying to stab this dude as he's pushing down on you, so you're trying to fight back, so they make it harder to actually do it. I
what
was
the
like,
fuck?
I get what they're doing, but I was like, I'm not 100% sold on this shit yet.
Right. Like the algorithm can be a pain in the ass sometimes.
No, I said
I've
I haven't
noticed that
played
with
too many games that have got it on there yet, so.
God, I downloaded Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for the fun of it. And of course, I'm so used to Mortal Kombat. I'm just like, man, like I'm hitting the right buttons. And then I looked, I'm like, oh, you have to go one at a time, stupid. This is Street Fighter. You have to make sure everything is precise, just like Tekken.
Yeah.
You can't just spear the guy and freeze him 20 times and win a match.
I feel like if Mortal Kombat wasn't invented, I probably would have been a better guitarist and started early. But I wasted like $5 million at the local arcade.
I
when it
wasn't
came
allowed to
out.
have those games as a kid.
Oh man.
They were of the devil apparently or something.
Oh
because
shit.
It's so
the
funny you
TV.
say it. Yeah, like growing up, my best friends, they were Mormon, so it was so funny because when they would come over, my mom was like, "Well, if you could just find a way to turn the blood off, I don't care." Like, all right, cool. So I'd have to look at like all those freaking magazines for the guides for that stupid cheat code that took like a million.
The only
Oh man,
fighting game that I had was the Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighter game for the Super
oh
Nintendo.
dude, that's a
I remember
classic.
that. I remember that.
Turtles in Time is also timeless. The Tournament Fighter, Turtles in Time. Oh god,
The
man, I
two
miss those
games that
beat
I
'em
still
ups.
have on I still got a couple around here, but the ones I still have recently played were Turtles in Time and A Link to the Past, which is pretty much my favorite game of all time. So
That's amazing.
I will still crack up the Super Nintendo every once in a blue moon and play through the A Link to the Past.
That game was a
Heck
beautiful.
yeah,
That
man.
game was beautifully wholesome. It's just everything about it was cool.
It's so dope because my
Yeah.
brother, we have a hard drive that has the emulator for the family's Wii. So we'll bust out like the classic games like that. Or there was one time my oldest nephew and I stayed up to like 4 in the morning, or no, it was my brother and I stayed up to like 4 in the morning playing Turtles in Time. We finally beat it.
I feel like I need to get my there's like a little blueberry pie app. I don't forget what it's called. It was like a little Nintendo and it had like thousands of games on it. I sold it to my brother and it had all the old
The little
Nintendo Super
emulator
and
thing.
the emulators. I should just borrow that and play like Link to the Past again now that you said that. He'd loan it to me, but whatever.
Gotcha.
We
Oh
went from
man,
Dark Side of the Scene to reminiscing of
Happy
video
games.
games.
Childhood games. And
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I
Yeah.
feel like most
oh
musicians all play video games just to like, because sometimes it just can't be about the music all the time. It's like, I want to kill things, so I don't kill my band members or whoever.
dude, I
You
know,
know?
right? Or you have like you have those rough experiences where you play with really lousy people, or you're around a really lousy, crowded environment. And I mean, I'll never forget the one band that has the unfortunate, terrible people that creep on other people. God, as soon as that singer walked into the bar, the hairs on my arms and my necks went up. The face I made looked like Jason just showed up and slaughtered somebody. My guitar player
Oh.
looks, dude, for real. Like my guitar player looks at me, he's like, "You look like you're either scared or something is very wrong. What's up?" And I was like, "I don't know what yet. Don't know what it is, but that guy specifically,
Did he look like Chris
something is
Angel?
no, even worse. He looked like a Walmart Alice Cooper.
That's pretty wow.
You said
No
Jason,
joke.
and this is a complete bad dad joke that I'd done about a year ago because for my company, I had to go and help out our survey department for the winter. And the guy that I worked with when I first started working out there that I was helping was named Jason. And we're at this it's a doctor's office, but it's like a specialty type office they were building. We had to go out and check like the drainage and stuff and like get the survey levels and everything because they're still building the shit. And they had this like black fabric wrap inside of it so the water actually doesn't go in there, but we needed to measure it, so you had to cut it open. So he's walking around with a machete and he's just slicing through stuff. And I made the comment of, I was like, well, at least your name's fitting. And he just kind of like looked at me funny, and then it didn't like register to him. And a few minutes later, he's like, "Oh, I understand what you're saying now." It was like a delayed reaction. I was like, "Well, okay." I thought it was funny, but it was a complete dad joke of a dude walking around with a big machete named Jason.
And it's so funny because coincidentally, I have an uncle named Jason, and he never was a big fan of the Friday the 13th series. But whenever I wear my shirt, it's like, I swear to God, someday somebody messes with my niece and nephews. Uncle Jason's coming to town. Not only will he take Manhattan, folks, but he'll take your hands.
Donuts.
My stepdaughter,
That
I'm
all
pretty
sounded
sure
like a Chia Donut commercial.
her uncle's named Michael Myers. So
Whoa! Oh
yeah.
my God!
You mean the
Halloween
actor?
4 was
No,
Yeah, I know.
no, baby, no.
I never even think of that guy as Michael Myers. Like, I don't know why. I was just thinking Mike Myers.
We only know 2 things: Shrek and Austin Powers. But if you've seen So I Married an Axe Murderer, that counts as 2.5.
I think of
Oh wait, I
Wayne's
forgot
World.
Wayne. Yeah, I was just about to say. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm wearing my X-Men hat with my long hair. Oh my God!
Actually, I'll interject. I think like watching like The Love Guru will probably make you want to kill yourself. So that movie sucks so bad.
I don't even
That's what
know if I've ever seen
no,
him.
it was
Don't
like a
watch it.
mid-late 2000s. Yeah, it was
Don't
like based
watch
on
it.
some SNL thing he did. But
It's
personally,
so bad.
is it worse than Sprockets? Because that kind of sucks.
Who? Shiprocket?
Sprockets. It was like some German sketch that he did where he was making fun of craft work or something.
No. I mean, I'd almost watch like Master of Disguise before I watched The Love Guru again.
Turtle.
At least
Dana
like
Carvey tried so hard.
and like because he wanted that MILF and she was worth it watching the movie, but that I'd rather watch that than like The Love Guru. It's that bad. Oh, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, I haven't seen either movie, but it sounds like I'm not missing too much.
No.
I don't think he does movies anymore, does he?
I don't think he has to. He's living on Shrek money.
True that.
I mean,
Very
wait.
true.
Well, I'll take that back. Sometimes he shows up as like a guest on it, and he's never like himself. He's usually somebody else with an accent or costume. Like he was in that Queen movie, or yeah.
I never watched
that
either.
We Will Rock You. He has a guest spot as some producer with a British accent. I'm like, he's not even British, but that's where it was like totally typecast because he was in Glorious Bastards playing a British guy. I'm like, when did he become? Yeah, that's
He's
very
freaking
weird.
Canadian.
Actually, I didn't even know that. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Man, I haven't seen Inglourious since it came out when I was in high school. Now that you mention it, God,
There you go.
I've only watched it once, so now I have to look at it again.
It's worth the watch. It's just crap. It's a very slick, smart movie. Just how everything comes out. I'm not spoiling for people who haven't seen it, but
I'm gonna spoil it for everyone. They kill Nazis.
Oh,
right.
Oh, right on. So, I guess back to the original subject. So, any other wild, I don't know, we could talk about whatever, but any other wild things that we need to touch on, excuse me.
Um, Gosh, along with seeing like some of the drug use in front
Yeah.
of us, like yeah, like some bands would just get wired, or they would like you were like would just get loaded up before they go on stage, and I'm sitting there thinking like, what
Huh.
the hell is wrong with these people? Like I understand getting a little buzzed before you go on, or like, people like to partake, but I just never understood the point of like getting hopped up to hurt yourself or getting spun out.
Wow. So basically, it's
It
like kind of, since it's lawless out there, it's more like it's almost like a risk to play, is what you're saying, because of the craziness out there.
Yeah, depending on who you book with, it is
Oh
a bit of
man.
a gamble. I mean, hell, there's been times where we played with people on speed and I didn't even know it until
Oh,
after the band broke up, and I'm like, what? Then I look back and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense.
did they go that fast? Is what you're saying?
Or they're just totally like ramped up before they get on stage, and their eyes are just 1,000 yard stare, or they're a million miles wide open, and I'm like, whoa, like what is wrong with you guys?
That's
Like
very
I can
weird.
tell, like I've had coffee, but like I can tell when somebody's on meth.
And I don't even know how like you would want to do drugs and then still be in a band. Like you think they'd sell their gear off to buy more drugs, but
Dude, I know, right? That's
yeah.
also a gamble of being in a band with addicts. Like, there's no way in hell I'd trust anybody with that.
Oh man,
You sell my
that's
drum set before my comic books, I kill you.
right. It's like
Oh hell, if you sell both, I'll kill you. But
where's your bass? Oh, I sold it. You had a gig tonight, asshole. Oh, I'll be back.
oh, I thought they were backlining the amp. No, you
Oh.
idiot! It's bring your own amp.
Backlining.
I don't understand why people have done like not even because of drug issues or whatever, but we actually
Some people just can't let go of the '80s, man. I've
Well,
unfortunately played with some bands in town where they still party like it's 1984, 85, and I'm just like, you're not cool creeping on these gals who are younger than you, or like you're it's
uh,
not safe. It's just gross and it's scary as hell.
I was more or less referring to like people that play music that only like they only have gear when they're doing something. Otherwise, if they're not doing something, they get rid of all their gear. Like I'm not in
hmm.
a band, so I don't need any of this stuff. So they quit playing music altogether. I was like, if you're a real musician, you would still keep your shit and still play. Well, why would you give up? Like, oh, I got to pay this bill, so I sold my guitar. So what do you do
I
now? I don't do anything.
um I would say that I've sold pedals that I never really got to use or never had the time to use.
Oh, that's
Uh,
different. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I was
that's
gonna say
different.
where I know that I'm not gonna be able to play them, I'm just like, I could buy them again at some point, so it's not the end of the world. But
Hmm.
yeah, like to do that, like to just entirely quit, I've had moments where I've been pretty burned out and I'll take a break, but then I'll go back up and I'll pick up one guitar and start playing on that, and I'm like, okay, I forgot how good it feels.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody just looks at me and they're like, "Oh, we need a drummer. We need a drum." And I'm just like, "Screw this. I'm going to sit in my room and take a break.
Yeah, I
That's
just
I'll
good.
grab my
Yeah.
I'll
just
grab my
speaking from
guitar.
my
I'll grab my bass."
experiences, like I've been in bands with people who they've had gear, we had stuff booked and they had to sell their gear for I don't really know what reasons. Like everyone struggles, so I get what you got to do, what you got to do, but it's like, okay, so now what does that do for us?
Oh
Right.
man, that's rough.
Yeah,
Yeah. Backup tracks.
Dang.
So
but
sorry.
no, I was just say,
Oh, you're
but
good.
we always
Man, that's
make it
that's rough.
figured out.
I so how long you been in this band?
We're going on 5 years this spring.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna backtrack a little. So how much did the beast affect your musical endeavors, the band, etc.? Like, how did you survive? Like,
We actually made a little YouTube channel during the time of the Number of the Beast, and we actually rented a band house together for a while until the excess use from the other people were coming through and flowing, and that's when I decided I had enough and wanted to get myself healthier for the band. But during the time we lived together, we would just jam in the basement. We would use the iPad. We'd get our YouTube channel going.
hmm,
So it would still be fun. It would still be, I guess, small town irrelevant, but nothing crazy. We didn't go out of our way to play shows or get shows because in between the beast, I I'm still struggling with it. It took a bit to get into therapy. I had a suicide loss in 2020 and
Mm,
lost my relationship, so I was not in a place to play or really yeah, I was a part of me was gone.
mm, yeah,
And
it's
between
a
that
shame.
and everybody else struggling to either find jobs or keep themselves afloat, there was just a lot happening at once, and everybody was on different waves.
Mm, yeah, wasn't the best of times for anybody. So it's like it's usually good to hear like a couple years later that people are up, people are on the up and up. They did what they could to get through that. You know,
No, for sure. And
yeah,
in between the main band struggling to kind of get our feet back, I took up a spot in a second group that was a bit more road heavy and playing in Washington more often, which was fun. But goddamn, we drank a lot. That 6 months was it was a roller coaster for sure.
I feel like a lot of people took up more drinking during the Beast era, so that just seems to go hand in hand.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, by the
Yeah,
time we got on stage, it's like, oh shit, like I need to make sure that I can sit down behind the kit so I'm comfortable.
yeah, wow,
They're good people. They're fun to jam with. They're total geeks and dorks too. But it's like once we started drinking before we get on stage, I'm like, damn, like number three already. I'm gonna pace myself here.
oh yeah, yeah. I don't really like. I'm not a huge drinker. I'll have one, but I know like at the end of the day, these people are coming to play. Excuse me, these people are coming to pay to see you, and they at least want to like give them a great performance. So at least they'll remember you're not the crazy drunk
Yeah,
person that did something nuts. But I get
right.
it.
No, and
So yeah,
I've had those experiences when we were younger too. It's like like I said, we go to a place where it's just like a really terrible crowd,
yeah.
and we got to get a buzz on just so we can tolerate the vibe. Or gosh, there's been times, of course, where we meet shady promoters and we're just like, not a single person's here, and it's almost 1 a.m. All right, let's hit last call.
Oh man. So
Yeah,
how
I would,
how are they how are they shady to just not promote right? One of those kind of situations.
or they keep moving the bands around just to accommodate for somebody that they
Uh,
know, and they find, yeah, we find out that they're lousy people that go hand in hand, and I'm like, go figure. Yeah,
yeah.
they accommodate for those people, or well, they said that these people would be off stage, or loading time was this and that. I'm like, no, it's not what we were told.
Huh.
I talked to the same person that's running the show a week before, and I'm like, because you told us A, B, and C.
I love that.
Yeah. There's always someone out there that's got a connection to somebody, and I've
Right?
experienced. I think everyone's probably had an experience with that too. Like you're supposed to play this and that, and everyone's always jockeying for a better spot. Back in the day, no one wanted to open. No one wanted to open, and everyone for some reason like, oh, we're headlining. We're headlining. I don't want to fucking play last because usually that's the shittier spots because I feel like most people leave by that point.
Right. Or
And
they're just loaded.
Yeah.
sometimes the opener, depending on when it starts, you might have a bigger crowd than the last person. But I always like playing right in the middle because I always felt like it was a decent spot because you're not opening and you're not really closing.
Right.
So
No, for sure. The middle is usually what we like to go to, depending on who we're playing with. Because right now we're doing a little setup where we're playing with some friends of ours, and it's so funny because they're like I would say Wire Monkey Mama is a mix of like science, punk rock, and a little bit of Weird Al.
Is that their name?
Yeah, Wire Monkey Mama. They're fun
Nice.
as hell, and they actually have like stage robot light up monkeys.
that's
No
awesome.
joke.
Shut up.
Uh,
That's awesome.
Dude, they're cool. Yeah, check them out. So we're doing a few shows with them over this month and the beginning of April. Their setup is awesome, but they usually go first because they're all teachers and they have kids. So anytime we play with them, they're just like, "Is it cool if we like? We don't want to be the old guys, but can we open?" Like, yeah,
Hey, sometimes I like opening because you get like your first sound check and it's usually longer. You get your
Yep.
shit on first. You're not in a hurry to get it on. Obviously off, but like I don't know. But it is
right,
that's all a gamble because you never know who might be there. You might
right,
have
and
some
that's
late
how it.
night drinking. Yeah.
The
Oh,
place that
definitely,
I
and that's
booked out
how
in
it.
town would always book the headliner, have them set up first. And remember, I think you guys had to set up in front of us.
No, yeah. It makes the stage tiny, but I get it. I respect whatever they wanted the venue
Yeah.
to,
Right.
whatever.
And it's so funny because Saturday, the way that the Infinity Room runs is the band that opens, of course, sound checks last, but they leave their stuff on there. But yeah, we played I want to say 55, 60 people.
Nice.
Some of the all ages venues here in town are pretty nice because getting that gap and getting away from a lot of the losers or shady people that we usually see in the bar scene and being able to actually play to a younger audience can be refreshing because they're like, oh, cool, I haven't really heard punk before.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Or they get that grungy kind of feel. You guys kind of look like Nirvana. I'm like, damn it.
Well,
No,
it was from that area, sort
yeah.
of up in that range.
Yeah.
And which is cool though, but it's just so funny because we used to play Breed to death because it was like one of the only few songs that we would bust out once in a while.
I feel like all ages shows there needs to be more, or at least places for the kids to have fun, because again, we were all kids, and then a lot of them aren't old enough to go into bars. So
Right,
I
and
don't know.
it's
I
such a
mean,
good release.
and
And
yeah,
it's just so refreshing to see like teenagers actually being able to catch a show and experience that.
I feel like
yeah,
at bar shows, a lot of the time, a lot of the people that come in there aren't really in there for the music in general. They're just in there to be at the bar, and then the
right,
music in the background is just going on, and most of the people are just like, play some real music.
right.
And then you hear Freebird,
Play some Skinner, man. I didn't pay a drink to see this shit. Brr.
Oh my gosh.
Freebird.
There was one dude I used to jam with that would yell that out almost every show just for the fun of it.
You'll have that.
Haven't seen him in quite a while, but no, I vividly like every other song, he would be a little sloshed. Raybird! Oh my god, dang it, man.
He probably died of an overdose. Sorry, dude.
No, he's still alive. I
Oh,
just haven't
good
talked
job.
to him in a couple of years.
Oh, okay. Good.
We had a
You know,
guy, uh, we always called him Super Fan. He used to show up to all of our shows. We didn't even know who the guy was at first. So if he's out there listening, shout out to Super Fan.
Super
Uh,
fan.
But I know his name and everything, but he would showed up at a battle of the bands we were playing, and he just started coming to every show we played. No matter where we were at, he'd show up like, this dude's fucking Super Fan, and that's what we just named him. And I think the show that Ed
Dude,
actually
that's pretty
played
cool.
with us, one of the last shows we played, I had him come up there and do a song on stage because my throat was all fucked up from something I had going on, like a fucking weird haker sore on my tonsils. I could barely speak, so I'm up there trying to do vocals, and like it was really rough. So I was like, man, if anyone knows this song, and he knew about it, so he wanted to come up there, so I let him do fucking vocals on a song. But
Dang. And that sounds rough.
I remember like that because I was like, now I think about it, I think you had like pre beast 666 in your throat, but
I
like,
did. I was patient zero.
and like it was funny because the whole time I had thought his voice was like that normally, like, hey, yeah, I can't do it because now that
But raspy.
I thought that was your normal voice, and then when I heard you talk, I'm like,
No, that was just the apparent throat cancer that developed on my
this
tonsil.
is weird. It's like, hey, we're gonna play this show. I can't do it, but yeah.
No, that was one of the last shows that we'd played. That was a pre-Beast era, like by what 2 or 3 months prior to the Beast.
Yeah,
Dang.
that was our bass player's last show too, because on the way home he basically messaged us. He's like, I can't do this anymore, and he told us, and I don't know, he said he just doesn't like, I don't know if it was the drive or something, or with his like significant other. I wasn't sure, we weren't sure, but we understood, and I was like, man, it just everything's crumbling. But it didn't
That
crumble
one
until
can be a challenge too, because yeah, like depending on how often you're playing and where you're playing, it's like, yeah, if you don't really have a healthy or a positive support and relationship with your partner or significant other, I understand that. I mean, I've seen people leave groups, or I've seen people like, okay, I got to take a break so I can make sure they're happy as well.
right. I feel like some people need guy time too, though. I mean, that's my opinion. Like my wife, she's supportive, and she doesn't really listen to heavy music, whatever. But like she knows what's important for me and to do this, and like I feel like if I didn't have it, I don't know what I would be. I'd probably be a mess. But
Yeah.
nobody's no band's asking you to like sacrifice everything you have. Just like a couple hours a month, or not a month, a couple hours a week, and just a couple shows. And it's not like,
Sometimes new
yeah,
relationships happen, and then the significant other gets jealous that they spend time away from them. So it starts to cause rifts because they have to be up the new person's bunghole all the time, and causes causes a lot of issues that way too. So
Sorry, I'm a kid from the 90s. Anytime someone says that word, I'm gonna laugh.
but um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've mentioned your band name, and what we've been doing around here is right at around the end of the episode, because we've been going for about an hour, and we're going to try and a lot of our episodes have been going almost 2 hours. And we're trying to squeeze them down to about an hour. That was my original plans for the episodes, but a lot of them just
Gotcha.
keep. But
Oh, today was cool. I was not expecting the I think it's a good mix. We covered a bit of like what we've experienced and how we've overcome that. A good sense of humor, coping mechanisms to get away from, like you said, like yeah, like I want to go home and play video games instead of killing these people that didn't pay us.
no. But what we've been doing is at the end of each episode, we play a song from whoever we interview's band, like their latest release or anything. So do you have any thing that you would want us to play here at the end of the episode?
Yeah, End of Conflict has a YouTube channel. We have a Bandcamp website. We're not on Spotify yet because we need to get the masters done. Yeah, right now, we just have Facebook, YouTube, and Bandcamp.
I'd say if there's a song that you've got like that's recorded or whatever, if you want to email it to me, I can add it to the end of the episode. Otherwise, I'll just put a link up to your guys' page on the show notes. But we've been trying to add the music to the actual episodes.
Gotcha. I think a link would be cool. The best quality would definitely be from our Bandcamp site.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
For
you can just email me the information, and I'll just add it to the end of the show, like at the show notes or whatever. So.
Okay.
What's your band called? For anyone out
there? End of Conflict, and we're based out of Salem, Oregon.
Okay. But yeah, basically, I think I've actually lost count of what episode we are right now.
69. I don't know.
Nice.
We've been recording almost nightly, it seems like, over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So we've got a lot of stuff already pre-recorded. So just getting these scheduled and getting them out for release, releasing a new episode every Monday. So
that's really cool.
Right now, I think we've got 4 episodes out. And then, like I said, every Monday there'll be a new episode out. So if you, anyone out there listening, and you personally, if you just, like I said, if you get on YouTube, you can find it on there. But anyone that's got like Spotify, Pandora, anything that you get podcast on, hell, it's on Amazon, Google, any of that stuff.
Man.
So anyone out there listening can just look up Dark Side of the Scene and it'll pop up.
All right. And I'm sending you guys the link to a personal favorite that I pinned in 2019. It was actually about somebody who had to leave the band because they just weren't getting along with us and causing a bit of drama, unfortunately. So then they jumped ship to another band that we played with before. And the way they were acting kind of reminded me of Millhouse.
Like,
and
how? In what way?
Well, just like the way that they kind of looked like with the hair, the face, and the glasses, no joke. And then the whole like, wow, like I take everything personal. I'm not your friend anymore. Then as soon as they jump ship to this band that has status, hey, whatever happened, it's over with. It's cool. Like, check this out. Look at my new band and look at all this, look at all that. Back of my head, I'm like, I get it, dude. You're happy. That's cool. But I know you're trying to rub it in.
Oh, so you basically got along better with them than he did with you guys.
At first, and then they wound up kicking him out too because he became too much.
So he's a dick in general. Oh, okay.
This sounds like this dude from around this area, and this will get brought up on a future episode because one of the bands that we will be interviewing at some point, we played a show with them, and this dude literally started a bunch of drama in the middle of the show, and then after the show, it all blew up. So, and when they come on, I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Okay, cool. I just sent you the link to the slapstick song, but yeah, the way he was acting, it was a total Millhouse thing, and then I was watching a clip when Homer wanted to run him over, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's it! There's the song."
Nice.
I
No,
never liked that little wiener.
no, I like hearing the stories about how people recovered from the beast, like musically, and like I feel like I should ask that more often. Where it's not like not to say like where were you 9/11 type thing, but like how much did that like you said it
Oh,
affected you a lot, and we get different little stories from everybody else how
oh,
that affected
definitely.
them, and
Yeah, like not being able to play live was frustrating, but
yeah,
having a full basement to just jam in anytime we wanted to, like
yeah,
that was cool. Knowing that we can go downstairs and work on whatever we
right, and you're
wanted to
just
or
and it
write
was
whatever we
just
wanted to.
in your little camp, and it's not like you're worried about outsiders getting you sick and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. Like
yeah,
if we wanted to do house shows, occasionally we would do one for Halloween and New Year's Eve.
because
Nothing,
everybody's
yeah,
wearing a mask anyway, so
right? I mean, nothing fancy and nothing crazy, but it was just like, okay, like only a small amount of people that we trust to like come on in, have some fun with us, and kick back. We got pizza over here, McDonald's on the left.
damn, I want McDonald's right now. Shit.
Yeah, I am
That's
hungry.
so funny. Is yeah, that's what we did. When we got the house in 2020, we had a small little like Halloween get together. Like a handful of people were bringing pizza boxes, and they're like, "Wait, some people are allergic," and I'm just like, "I don't care. Like, I'll eat McChickens."
Who's allergic to pizza? What the hell you guys
Uh,
eating out there?
no, I am unfortunately. I'm allergic to like dairy and chocolate, so
Oh, you got your lactose intolerance?
it's yeah, it's kind of funny because like it's a legit allergy though. I will break out into hives or I'll start throwing up.
From milk products.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Oh, that sucks.
But yeah, like you said though, I mean, there's all kinds of options now. Oregon is they're pretty open. And some of the vegan food that I've tried is pretty solid. It doesn't taste like it's non-dairy, but it's pretty damn
I
good.
think they have vegan donuts at that one place,
Oh,
actually.
Voodoo?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
I'm
I'll have to
pretty
check that
sure.
out.
I think so. Don't quote me. Don't punch my face in because I said that, but I'm pretty
Gotcha.
sure they have vegan options there too.
That's pretty cool. Is the
Yeah.
Infinity Room that we played at this Saturday is all vegan too.
Oh, nice.
No, their food is excellent though. I That's the cool part. Along with the cut from the door and ticket sales, you also get $20 for food and drinks per person in the band. So I'm like, dude, I'm eating like king
Hell yeah.
tonight.
Shout out to them. Like most
Oh
places
yeah.
don't feed you.
No,
No.
the Infinity Room takes care of they're really good people.
Oh, cool. It's
They
good to
used to
hear.
be the Space Concert Club down in West Salem area, and it was so awesome because it was a really similar setup, but you would play in a basement. And when you're moshing, you just got to be mindful because there's a giant beanpole in the middle.
Yeah, that would suck. Bring the house down, literally.
Right. But they
Oh,
moved out of there and teamed up with a comedy club downtown. So now there's room to have a pit, as I experienced on Saturday. The headlining band, oh my God, I got knocked down a couple times.
do you mosh still?
Not as often. Man,
Okay.
some of those younger kids were just going ham. And I'm like, dang, like
Yeah.
what happened to just running into each other?
It's all that pent up aggression, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. There was kids that were swinging their arms and doing like the whole like full on swing and spin. And I'm just like, whoa, don't hit anyone.
You'll have that.
You youngsters need to know how to run into people.
Sounds like sounds like you don't have too many bad experiences out there. It just seems like a happy, clean air kind of area with like
Random
venues.
with
Yeah.
venues and random racist and drug abusers that come and fuck stuff up.
Yeah, for the most part, like since we kind of distance ourselves from like those specific crowds, things have gotten better. And that is one thing that I have learned about to overcome those obstacles. And they're like, man, like we got to go back to that bar. We got to work with these people again. So that's when I started smartening up a bit and trying to learn how I can counteract. Like, look, we're not playing here. You book this band, that band, and these people not having it and just putting our foot down.
I mean, you could get other bands to like kind of band with you to, like not say ban those bands, but at least keep people aware of, hey, that they bring a rowdy crowd we don't like.
Well, again,
That
that's
could
how
hurt. Yeah.
it would hurt, but it also you're alienating. I guess I'm on the fence about that. Like you can't blame the band for the
Right.
fans that they have. That's
But
the
I
problem.
feel like they should have some awareness. I don't know. It's kind of a
No,
slippery
totally
slope.
agree.
Yeah.
Like you can't blame them if they don't know about it, but if they do know about those people and turn a blind eye, it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Well, I meant like that person, the people themselves, not the band. Like, be like, hey, the cancel culture, these people coming to these shows. It's not the band's fault though. Which is good that you protect the band because it's not their fault. They're just out to play.
I would just
Right.
I look
Yeah.
at it like this: like if Ed's band started for whatever reason, have the KKK decides that they want to be fans of Ed's band, even though he's not necessarily a white person. So I don't know if they'd actually. It might be irrelevant, but they just hypothetically, because you guys play music that they like and they show up at your show, and you're going to start getting blackballed from all the shows now because for some reason they're attracted to your guys' music, even though you're not specifically racist yourself.
Right.
Oh, it's funny you say that because we do have a song that also goes against racism and corrupted police and Proud Boys Around Town as well. I can send you the link for that.
Right on. Yeah, it's I think it's a slippery slope. I don't want to see bands getting like banished because of something they're not doing, but if they're well aware of it and they're okay with it and it's all their buddies, and they're probably in the same sort of belief system and everything else, and I understand that aspect. But if it's literally just random people coming, then it's hard to blame a band for something like that, at least in my opinion. I don't know, maybe I'm fucking wrong. What the hell do I know?
No, I know what you mean. Especially like when you go to a new place and you want to check it out and you have no knowledge, which was always kind of our thing when we first started, because they were just like, "Hey, we need a band that's young and wants to play," and we're like, "Okay, we're a band that's young and wants to play." And then lo and behold, like I said, we experienced the unfortunate, like, great, we're surrounded by what kind of people? That's cool.
Like I
Like,
said,
thanks for the $30 in gas and the door cover. We'll see you later.
No, it's just, I think, a double-edged sword, especially when you're playing music in general, because you don't ever know. There's always skeletons in the closet. Hell, there's skeletons in fucking venue owners in certain areas. Like,
Oh yeah, we had a venue shut down in 2019 because some known abusers and child predators were booked for a rap concert, and the rappers here in town do not put up with any of that. So they went ahead, called out the venue, called out the person that performed, called out the venue runner, and I got shut down in less than a month. And I was like, dang.
The venue or just the show?
The venue.
So they're shut down now.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And it's of course it's sad because it's one of those places where it's like it had a huge stage and had decent potential to be an opening place, but hardly anybody would come through, or like I said, shady promoter, shady booking. Nobody really got paid there.
That seems to be like a lot of the places.
Yeah, we brought it. Oh my gosh! Before that whole thing got shut down, of course, because it was like one of the only options to play at in town. We played there one night. We had about 40 people at a crowd. We only got $5. Back of my head, I was like, this guy just ripped us off. He's going to get his karma. And then coincidentally, look what happened.
Oh, well, okay, then fuck him.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's
and
not
he's
cool.
still hanging around those kinds of shady people in bands. So it's like, well, you live your life over there, loser.
And they had like a full bar too, right?
Yeah, they were tied with a Chinese restaurant where you would go over, get your food, get your drinks.
So that Chinese food and then a show.
Yeah,
man, he fucked that up, man. That's awesome.
Dude, I know, right? Like you have it made with a really good stage and lighting, and then all of a sudden have a really good restaurant that, like, I don't know what it is about.
I have yet to eat General Tissot at a fucking metal show, so that guy fucked something good up.
Dude, for real. But no, General Tso's and punk rock is pretty good too.
that kind of makes sense. I don't know why.
Well, guys, I think we're gonna wrap this one up here.
Yeah.
All this food talk's making me hungry, so I've got to go get something to eat.
It's just about dinner time over here too, so
we're past 10 p.m. our time, so it's getting up there in the nighttime for us. And I'm an old fart, so my bed's calling to me as well. But no,
thank you guys for doing this. It's really cool. We need more outlets like this.
Yeah, we're just trying to give a platform for others to come out and tell us their stories.
Yeah, you had a cool one. You had a really cool place. Your whole area, I could just picture in my head, like your whole story seems really cool about all
I
the
keep
stuff.
picturing skateboards all the
I
time.
I,
I don't
I
know
keep
why.
do have
picturing
a
like
skate
pine
park.
trees between all the buildings. I don't know why.
There is a skate park that's actually not too far from this
Mm.
area of downtown. It's right across from the mall parkade, and we just did probably one of the coolest shows for the community. It's called Punks in the Park. Everybody got together to help out the homeless, at-risk youth
Nice.
teens, and oh yeah, it was like people got clothes,
Awesome.
people got food, people got free haircuts, and people got taken care of. It was really cool stuff
would
like that. I
fucking
always
do
love
that.
doing.
I would
Yeah.
fucking do that. Just play and make sure some homeless people get fed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It's like it oh man, stuff like that for the community. I always love giving back to because it was just like sweet. Like all we had to do was help set up the stage and then we get to play. And I'm like, dude, like people are getting help. I'm down.
Very
Yep.
cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Again, I want to say thanks for coming out and talking with us. It's nice to hear stories that go on elsewhere other than our areas. And again, it's not all bad. We're not all out here just trying to spread bad propaganda. So
Right. No, I think
we're
today
not the
was really
media.
cool.
So
This was a really cool experience. I've never got to do anything like this, and being able to share how to overcome those things as well.
yep, that's the shit I like to hear too. Like people that overcome the obstacles, get over the bad shit that they've dealt with in life, rise above it. That's definitely a positive that I enjoy hearing about and sharing the experiences with others.
Oh, definitely, and
Oh
I'm glad
yeah.
we got to do that with this interview. Yeah, I sent you guys a couple songs via the email through our Bandcamp.
Yeah, I got
So
all
I
that.
hope you
Sweet.
cool. I hope you guys like those. Seriously, thank you for doing this, man. It's cool. I'm gonna check out the YouTube Dark Side of the Scene channel and
Do
plug
it.
that as well. No,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, again, we want to say thanks. And anyone out there listening, if you would like to be on a future episode, just send an email to brandon@darksideofthescene.com. Whatever stories you got, we'd like to hear it. Again, it's called Dark Side, so we expect some negative stuff, but we're not all negative. So anyone out there, we want to hear your stories. So
Join me in the power of the dark side.
right on. Well, again, I want to say thanks, appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one. Good night, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a message for all